You can call me Mystic Mike because I predict these things.
Edmen Shahbazyan takes on Budka this Saturday on the main card of UFC Fight Night, Rodrigues versus Cannonier. And this is a weird matchup. Two of these guys kind of at a crossroads in their career, not seen the most success in the UFC. Edmen Shahbazyan was a very high-profile prospect back in the day, coming out of Edmen Shahbazyan's gym, who coached up Ronda Rousey, kind of ruined her career. We all remember that. But Edmen Shahbazyan since then has left that gym, thankfully. He's now at Extreme Couture in Vegas. Had a kind of a 50-50 career so far in the UFC. Got some decent wins when he first came in, and had some dud performances, but a lot of his losses are against really good guys, so it's hard to hold that against him. He's only 25 still, which is just crazy. He burst onto the scene. Or no, sorry, he's 27. Budka is 25, but still, Edmen Shahbazyan been in the UFC since 2018, coming off the Contender Series. So since he's like 20 years old, he's been in the UFC. So a lot of experience his way. He has a lot more fights than Budka, 18 to 11. Budka's, 2 years younger, but Edmen Shahbazyan, 13-5, decent striker, not the best chin. Comes from a wrestling background, not collegiate, but just in high school. He's got really good striking. The issue with Edmen Shahbazyan and the issue with both of these guys really is not the best gas tank and not the most heart. Both these guys are kind of quitters, in my opinion, and it's hard to call a cage fight or something in the UFC but that's what I see in these guys. Every time I see them on a fight card, I'm just like, ooh, which one's going to show up? Is it the one that looks like they've been training, or is it the one that as soon as things don't go their way, they kind of just give up? Edmen Shahbazyan was looking really good in his last fight against Gerald Meerschaert before he gassed looking for the finish. Ended up getting arm triangle choked by Gerald Meerschaert. But before that, knocked out AJ Dobson. Before that, again, gassed against Anthony Hernandez, which, not a terrible look. Anthony Hernandez, extremely good grappler, extremely durable, probably one of the best gas tanks at middleweight, just ended up outlasting him and finishing him by ground and pound. Before that, got a flying knee against Dalcha Lungiambula. So it's like one fight, he looks really good. Looks like he's kind of moving past his prior mistakes, and then he kind of just gets checked again and sent back to the bottom. So lost to Nassourdine Imavov, elbows from Crucifix, Jack Hermanson, Derek Brunson. So Derek Brunson kind of fraud checked him on the ground too, beat him by ground and pound. But these are top tier. Well, at least Imavov, Hernandez, and Jack Hermanson, top 10 guys, really good guys. Gerald Meerschaert, he can beat anybody in the world any day of the week when he's on. Derek Brunson, maybe not so much now, but this was 4 or 5 years ago. So KO Brad Tavares. Not a lot of people are finishing him. So Edmen Shahbazyan can be one of the best in the world on any given night. Budka, on the other hand, was supposed to be a very good wrestler, highly touted wrestler coming into the UFC. Just not really seeing it, He did go to a split decision with Azamat Bekoev, who we just saw, ground and pound, put out Zachary's in devastating fashion. So that's not a terrible loss, and especially with a split where you might argue that he won that fight. But Cesar Almeida fight, gas shooting for takedowns. If you can't take down a kickboxer who's like 36, 37 years old, who's only been doing MMA for a few years, why should I trust you that you're going to take down a guy like Edmen Shahbazyan, who's been training since he's like 10? I know that he's been taken down before. He's been controlled on the ground, but he's only improving, and I don't see Budka improving. He kind of gave up in that fight. As soon as he couldn't get those takedowns, he was gassed. He just kind of gave up, got elbowed in the head, and TKO'd by Cesar Almeida. Andre Petroski, not as good of a wrestler on paper as Budka, but for whatever reason, Petroski was getting the takedown each round, all 3 rounds, and controlling him. It's like some of these high-level wrestlers, as soon as they get taken down and put on their back, they have no idea what they're doing or how to get up, which just blows my mind. How do you have such a high-caliber grappling background and you're not translating that to a sweep game or a bottom game? We saw that with Tatiana Suarez. Couldn't get her takedowns, got put on the ground this last weekend and couldn't do anything with it. I think Edmen Shahbazyan wins this fight. I'm hoping that he can defend the takedowns. Maybe he can at the beginning, but I feel like as the fight progresses on and he defends a few takedowns, Budka is going to start to gas. He's going to start losing confidence in himself, and he's not going to want to shoot anymore. I see Shahbazyan kind of piecing him up on the feet, defending most of the takedowns. I think Budka, like I said, can get him down, but I don't really see him doing anything with it, really. We haven't seen any crazy ground and pound from him. We haven't seen him going for submissions. He has one rear naked choke outside of the UFC, two rear naked chokes against some bums, but a loss by rear naked choke. And I feel like Shahbazyan, you know, he's got decent ground game for the amount of time that he's been in the game. But I can see these guys gassing, but I feel like if I had to pick one person to push through it at this point in both these guys' careers, it's Edmen Shahbazyan. He's just got so much more high-level experience than Dylan Budka. Budka is kind of a big step down for him in terms of the level of competition that he's been fighting. And I think that he can piece up Dylan Budka. I think he's a much better striker. It's just going to depend on, can he defend the takedowns enough to win the rounds? And can he defend the takedowns and not gas out and give up? And I'm going to put my money on Shahbazyan being able to do that. I think he's the better, well-rounded fighter. I think he's going to be able to put it all together much better, mix up his strikes, defend the takedowns, and I think I could see him putting out Budka on the feet or TKOing him, but more than likely this will probably be a decision. Edmen Shahbazyan, he's a minus 285 favorite over Dylan Budka, but this is a weird one because this is a dangerous one gambling-wise, because Budka could come out and get 2 takedowns, hold him on the ground, and win 2 rounds, win the fight. But I don't have much faith in Budka. He hasn't shown me any reason to pick him even against somebody like Edmen Shahbazyan, who's 50-50 in his career. So I'm going to go with Edmen Shahbazyan. He might get the KO, but more than likely, I think he'll get a decision in this one and outlast Budka. Let me know what you guys think. But I think this will be kind of the end of the road for Budka. Send him back to the regional scene, get a few more wins, and maybe he'll come back. But I don't see him getting this one done. So thanks, guys.